Okay, here we go. Chapter 17. The Trusted Advisor. Even though he had never met the man, Ben knew in his gut that he was face to face with Maximus Steele. What other human would be in the imaginary world, dressed like a big game hunter? Maximus's cargo pants were tucked into sturdy black hiking boots. His short-sleeved khaki shirt had multiple pockets and matching vest. A knife hung from the belt that looked like it may have been made of snake or crocodile skin. Or it could have been made from an imaginary creature. A pith helmet and a pair of binoculars completed the outfit. Ben glanced at Pearl to judge her reaction. She had seen Maximus before, when she had been sent into the tangled forest to find the missing unicorn foal, and while hiding in the darkness, Maximus had descended on the back of a giant moth. He had set up a trap, and then flown away. Pearl had jammed the trap with a tree branch, ruining Maximus's chances of getting a unicorn horn that day. But she never did get a good look at his face. "It's him," she whispered to Ben. "I can tell." "I think you're right," Ben whispered back. "What a lovely day," Maximus said. He stood in the den's entrance, sunlight filling the space behind him as if a spotlight had been turned on to announce his arrival. "The storm clouds have seemed to disappear." Ben scowled. He wasn't interested in the weather report. What was Maximus Steele, the notorious poacher, doing in the Griffin King's palace? With slow and very confident footsteps, Maximus walked up to the throne and sat in it. Then he leaned back, stretched his long, skinny legs, and for the first time since being arrested, Ben was glad to be locked in a cage. A wall of bars separated him from the most dangerous man in the imaginary world. He and Pearl were trapped, but they were safe. Well, at least for now. Maximus took off his helmet, and Ben and Pearl got to see his face. It wasn't as evil as Ben had imagined. There was no eye patch, no hooked nose or pockmarked skin. His hair was black and cropped super short like Ben's. He had a wide nose and almond-shaped eyes. "I presume that you are Emerald's new apprentices." Ben wasn't used to hearing someone called Dr. Wu by her first name, but he remembered that she and Maximus had grown up together. They had been best friends as kids. "How about we ask you the questions?" Pearl said, jutting out her chin. "What are you doing here?" "Didn't the king tell you?" Maximus laughed wickedly. "I am his trusted advisor." "How can the king trust you? You're the one that hurt the rain dragon. He should arrest you, not us." Maximus balanced his pith helmet on his knee. "The king is blissfully unaware of my true occupation." "You mean you lied to the king?" Pearl said. "Oh, I'm going to tell him the truth. You're a poacher. You take horns." Not just horns. Anything of value a collector might buy." He tapped his fingers on his helmet. "Sea serpent skin makes a lovely waterproof tent. Yeti fur protects against the coldest weather. And there is nothing sharper than dragon's teeth. They make superior knives, you know." He pulled his knife from his sheath. Ben and Pearl stepped backward, deeper into the cage. But the Griffin King does not know my true nature. I told him that I am a dear friend of Emerald's. And I know a few riddles. So it was easy to earn his trust." But there's a wanted sign in the maze," Ben said, "for dangerous human poacher." "I blamed the poaching on somebody else," Maximus said. "Who?" His voice turned icy. There is someone else in this world, someone who has been trying to stop me. He stood and took a step toward the cage. I worked very hard to lure a unicorn foal, but a branch was jammed into my trap. No footprints were left at the scene, so I have no proof of who damaged my trap. But I do have my suspicions. Ben glanced at Pearl's feet. During her adventure in the tangled forest, she had been wearing her leprechaun shoes. They allowed her to move in total silence. Apparently, they didn't leave footprints either. Maximus stood very close to the cage. You wouldn't know anything about what happened in the tangled forest, would you? And he looked directly at Pearl. She gulped. At that moment, Ben was grateful that Mr. Tabby had made them dress up for their visit to the Griffin's palace, because the yellow ribbon that Pearl was wearing in her hair was covering the important clue. After saving the unicorn foal, Pearl and Ben had been given strands of unicorn mane, and the strands had magically attached themselves to their heads. Anyone who knew anything about unicorns would recognize the white stripes as proof of membership to an elite organization called the Order of the Unicorn. Ben's stripe was hidden under his hair at the nape of his neck, but Pearl's usually was easier to spot. But thanks to the yellow ribbon, Maximus couldn't see the white stripe. He couldn't know for certain that Pearl had been rewarded by the Unicorn King. We don't know what you're talking about, Ben lied. We've never been to the Tangled Forest. Dr. Wu sent us here because she's sick. Sick? Maximus's expression softened. How sick? She has troll tonsillitis, Pearl said, and she won't be better without a griffin's feather? Maximus interrupted. Of course. And with his knife still clasped in his hand, he took a sudden angry swing at the lock. It split open and fell to the ground. Ben and Pearl stumbled backward until they were pressed up against the cage's back wall. Maximus yanked open the door. What was he going to do? Go on, he said. Before the king returns. Ben wasn't going to argue. He rushed out, Pearl at his heels. Why did you do that? He asked when they were free. Maximus returned his knife to the sheath. You may think me cold-hearted, but I do care about Emerald. She was very kind to me when we were children, and I don't want her to be sick. Go get the griffin feather so that she may be cured. He grabbed his pith helmet and set it on his head. But give her this message. If she is the one tampering with my traps, she had better stop, or I will no longer consider her to be my friend, and I will tell the Griffin King to forbid her from entering this world. But the creatures need Dr. Wu, Pearl said. Who's going to take care of them if they get sick? Maximus chuckled. If creatures get sick, then they weaken, and weak creatures are far easier to catch. You can't do that, Ben said. Well, I can do whatever I want. I am the king's trusted advisor. And then, with the tip of his hat, Maximus Steele exited the den. None of the lurching satyrs tried to stop him as he hurried out the golden gate, disappearing into the hedge maze. I don't care that he set us free. I still don't like him, Pearl said. Ben was relieved that he wasn't going to be living in a cage, making up riddles for the rest of his life. But the feeling was fleeting. We have to get the feather. Find Mr. Tabby and summon the portal before the king comes back. Yeah, but where's the feather? Ben repeated the riddle. If thou looketh above and not behind, what thou seeketh, thou shalt find. He chewed his lower lip. If we look above, we'll find what we seek. He and Pearl both looked up at the den's ceiling. The nest!